Hi everyone, this is Richard. In this video, we're going to go over checkboxes. Okay, we have our web application here, very simple. And we have a date. We'll just say this person her last menstrual period's on February 8th, and this is her due date. Now, what happens if in some time in the future, she's going to say, for example, fly, and wants to know how far along in her pregnancy she is in the future? So what I want to do is have like another date box around here and just say, enter your future date, and then it will say how far along you will actually be. All right, so in the code right here, what I'll just say is something like, um, um, do you want to know the gestational age for a future date? Let's do that, okay? And on the next line, I think, because that's a lot to say, and on the next line, I'm going to say, um, input type equals checkbox ID equals future date. Actually, I should probably say yes. So yes, check the mark right there, and then say input type equals date. ID equals future date. No, I just said that right. Let's say future date for this one. For this one, we'll simply say checkbox date, since it's nice and straightforward. Okay, let's see how that actually looks. Actually, let's put a break right inside of here. Okay, last menstrual period. Do you want to know the gestational age for future date? Yes. I take that back. I'm going to have this here. I'm going to put it right there. So it'll look a little bit like this. Yes. I don't even think I have to put yes there, I guess. There we go. If you click it, then you enter the date. And when you hit submit, then I want to have the estimated gestational age for the future date. All right, so how am I going to do that right here? Well, what we do need is to create objects out of checkbox date and future date. So I'm going to say roughly right around here, date, input element, future date equals query selector, future date. And then I'm going to also say, and there was another checkbox, right? Checkbox input element, future, checkbox, did I call it date? Future date. With checkbox is checkbox date, excuse me. Future date and checkbox date equals query selector. I think I'm doing this right. Checkbox date. One more time. Checkbox date, future date. Good. All right, excellent. So what I can do is I can either do for the current date, if I click here, I want to return the estimated gestational age, how far along you are, for the future date. Otherwise, I want it for the current date, today, in other words. All right. So let's go back here. Estimated gestational age. We'll change this getter. Remember, with getters, you can actually, with getters themselves, you can actually go ahead and put in logic. So I'll say right here, estimated gestational age, if checkbox date dot checked, then it's going to be future date dot date input element value as date difference LMP. And else dot difference LMP dot in days. I'm doing something wrong here. In days. I don't think that's something wrong. I think I have to hit return. And return. And I think I have to have another bracket right there. I think that does it. Okay. So getters, remember, instead of an instead of a single line fat arrow function, we could actually use the old standard way. You could put logic inside of getters or functions also, but in here we're going to say get EGA, okay, estimated gestational age. If checkbox equals checked, the future date right here, the future date right here, okay, that will value as date and the difference between the last menstrual period and the future date in days. But the EGA is still, the estimated gestational age is still going to be the same format. So we don't have to change that. All we have to change is the value of the EGA, right? Now, otherwise, it's going to go back to today. Now, look at a couple of different things here. Future date dot value as date. So I'm a little inconsistent, aren't I? So LMP element right here, and then I changed it up here as value as date. Whereas with future date, I did not actually do that. Why? I think because I did it a few weeks ago and I forgot, okay? So I made it this way, and this way I made it differently down here. So here I just have to do to LMP, and I don't have to put at value as date. Otherwise, I'd have to put LMP element dot value as date inside of here, right? Today, when you say today, date time dot now, that automatically comes as a value as date. The reasons why future date and LMP have to has value as date, why? Because these are from the HTML elements, right? So this is creating it, the today is being created purely in Dart. These elements, that's why I label them element, are actually coming from HTML. And remember, they come by as strings, the input elements, and you have to convert it into a date element in the date format, okay? The date type also. So let's save this. As always, cross our fingers. So last menstrual period, I'm going to say back here and submit. This is your due date. Your gestational age is 22 weeks and 4 days pregnant. Do you want the gestational age for a future date? Yes. What date is that going to be? Sometime in December 17. Today is, I don't know, September something. It's a September. So I submit it. Notices that changes right there. The due date does not change, and it shouldn't. But at that time, I could change this, right? I could just change you will be, but I just left it alone for right now. 35 weeks pregnant and 1 day pregnant from that date right there. Do you want to know the gestational age for a future date? No, not anymore. How much is it today? 22 weeks and 4 days pregnant. in the future, it's going to be 35 weeks and 1 day pregnant. Okay, so I hope that was pretty clear. I'm just expanding the functionality of this web application, just saying, hey, it's not really a web. I feel a little funny calling it web application so because it's so simple, right? But whatever. So you can remember install logic here. Notice as this is getting a little complicated, but still, it's easy to follow the logic because it's really encapsulated right here. It's nowhere else. Notice we did not even touch the main dot. We didn't touch this at all. So it's simple, straightforward. Even though this gets a little ugly, it's really not that bad and pretty straightforward to look through. Now, if you looped through different files and stuff and you have to track it down, that might be a different story. That's for the future. Okay? Thank you very much.